Welcome to our special edition of Film Speak, where we'll be focusing on the impact of women in film. I'm your host, Lana.
And I'm Joanna. That's right in front of the camera and behind. Did you know that in the early days of film, women were recruited to do film editing? Men felt it was beneath them.
A lot of people also don't realize that the first actors to hold independent contractor status in Hollywood were women.
Even now in the industry, women are making strides as they make their voices heard.
For example, Diablo Cody and Emma Thomas.
Let us not forget Drew Barrymore and Emma Thompson, just a few of the women working as writers, directors, and producers.
As well as Oscar winner Kathryn Bigelow, whose film Point Break will be part of our discussion today.
I love Point Break, the ultimate bromance movie.
First, join us with Megan Cooper and Nicole Richter as we talk about women in film and the challenges they face, then break down the classic film Point Break.
Get a little tiny hint what it look like. This is moonlight, this is high rise. 3 doors and they all say
I'm okay as doing now. 15 years, million of nails and million of toes. Getting to know people, talk to them, and then you get attached, just like everyday life, and we talk, you know.
Speaking of kids, are you and Lynn gonna have a kid yet, or what?
Yeah, it will be a blessing. We've been trying, but if you don't, I guess.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but. Vietnam, I was born there. It was hard, you know. My dad just paid a little bit of gold for the smuggler to take us out of the country when I was like 7 or 8 with my brother. We was on a boat with 20-some other people to escape Vietnam. Hundreds of thousands Vietnamese people die in the ocean. All we want to do is just have freedom, you know. So everybody just fled the country. Let's go to the ocean, you know. Just go for freedom anywhere but Vietnam during the war. Then we end up in Oakland for 13 years. No English, no money. We didn't have a lot of things, you know. But, you know, it's still family, you know. Daytime nail salon, nighttime MMA.
He's afraid to wrestle you.
Hey, guy, come on, let's all do boxing first. Then we can leave quick. Come on. Come on, guys. Yeah, we're going. Yeah, come on. The nail salon hour is over. It's MMA now.
No, okay. We won't do. Okay, we gonna do this too.
I want it to be a good hangout.
1, 2, now. Up. 1. Let's start over. Up. 1. Up. 2. Up. 3. Up. 1. Up.
Keep them busy, you know. If you're not busy, and you're not doing something, you're gonna find something to do. VIP people are very important people. That's you. You know, we are important to somebody. back in Oakland, California. I was just running around with a lot of homies. Even though if you're not hard, you gotta walk around like you hard. I got my ass beat, and you know, I whooped some ass too. I've been shot in Oakland, California like 4 or 5 times. I'm serious. They finished the whole clip on me, and I'm survived. My friend in the car died.
Man, come on, yo, why you need this? I know. But I'm keeping this. Who's this? Chelsea, is this yours? I'm keeping it. You not have this. You know what's this? No, it's not.
Some of the kid that got it rough, maybe like me when I was younger, I always try to let them know, yeah, you are VIP, you are very important, and don't let people say that you're not. As long as I can help one person, I'm happy, you know.
1, 2, 3. VIP! Yeah, yeah. Good job, guys.
It's very loud, but I'm gonna throw it farther than that, so you gotta move back.
Get more ice and put on it, a lot more ice. Can you go get some ice, bro? At the stand.
Okay, Wasabi here with
A lot of ice. So, keep me updated, all right?
I will. Thank you.
When you get to the hospital, ask him for something so he can hold it up. Yes, please. All right. Congratulations, bro. I'm sorry on the shoulder, man. Just go there. They take care right away, you know. So don't. Man. Hey, man, Gato is in the hospital, man.
I know. It happens. It's sport.
His shoulder pop out, man. All right, man. After today, you probably gonna drink. I'm gonna drink, but after that,
You already know.
Gotta get that money, all right? Man? You need it, man. I need it too.
Corey Coco Simmons, 24 years old, from Defiance, Ohio, born and raised. Yeah, I just like to fight. Fighting in school.
Coco, what's up? Help this guy out.
Just being a bad kid.
He's a fighter, no doubt about that. He can fight. That's all he grew up is just fighting.
I got locked up, attempted court, not paying my court fines. And then I got out. He just asked me, do I want to fight in the cage? I was like, yeah. And we just been fighting together ever since. Got to change my ways. I got kids to support.
He really getting away from that, you know? Getting away from whatever that was holding him back. He doing the right things, you know, being a father, taking care of his kid. I do my best to support him and what I can and be their role model, you know? He will make it big. I have no doubt about it.
Just helped me out. He helped me out so much. He does everything he can for us. God bless him.
Saturday. Fights. Main event, Corey Coco Simmons from Defiance, Ohio. Versus Philly native Rami Arabian Nightmare Ibrahim. Here in Philadelphia. It's going to be insane.
It's a big fight for Coco. Rami, he's very well known around Philadelphia. He won a lot of titles. We're definitely the underdog, big time.
Tomorrow's too long, man. I'll be here.
I'm ready for a Heineken.
Forget a Heineken. I'm ready for his face. I'm ready for his face. That's what I'm ready for.
Coming for you, man.
No, you ain't coming for me. You're gonna be coming for my opponent.
He ain't gonna come for me. Oh, he's not gonna come for me.
I was nervous. It's very professional. And you know, us from a little town,
it's how you handle it. It's not when you get punched, what you do after that. Somebody's gonna win, somebody's gonna lose. I just know what I can do and how I'm gonna do it.
Now you can have it your way. Let me keep doing me. Growing no puberty. Flow something you should see. Get with a favor on the way to the top. Quick with the way that I make 'em my bounce. Hater gonna hate in the way that I rock. Doesn't really matter cause I put it to the side. Now I got a lot of dreams. No, I'ma reach them. Take that tone right from beneath them. Everything that I would not be calm. Coming true when I am from the free form. All these your opinions and your
They played me. I told Mark Slater that I wanted him on his next card.
Mark Slater?
Yeah.
In Indiana?
Man, should I take that fight, man?
There's a lot of show coming. April 6th, April 13th, and May in Chicago. Let's get on Chicago.
I'll get on that one.
Yeah, I think that'll give you like 2.5 months. You'll be ready. I want to go back to Chicago. I've never been on that show. And you know, in the Sears Center, it's big.
But I can win.
Whatever you put in, you're going to get out.
Do me a favor, label me your favorite, or become just another hater when I make it. Critics speak their minds, but I don't get their language. Proud to make a living with the people that I hang with. Never go back, gotta move forward, letters and bags, drop to the door. Everyone hit me right in the chest, I realize what I'm rocking for. Not only me, those who support, people who's on me, yes, let us move forward. All of the people who came to the doors and took my dream and made it much more. Well, I hope that you hear me. Let us sign, dear me. Life put sincerely. Words write themselves, yeah. That's my whole theory. Rocker stays strong, even though I might appear weak. What a weary Could it be the fact that I'm something new and catching on? I'm thinking clearly. Yeah, this chick, she wanna break it off, but that's okay with me, cause my career is taking off. Crazy lady, she can psycho laws, and I'ma chuckle if she buckle and ever try to play me for an idiot. Seriously, who you kidding with? Hit her with the quick to dip and simply stop her getting it. Okay, okay, okay. I will, I'll tell, for real. I'll tell, for real. So
Welcome back to Film Speak. We are joined by Megan and Nicole from Film Dayton.
Now, Megan and Nicole, tell us about Film Dayton and your roles. I understand you're president and you're the executive director, and as two women, you just tell us a little bit about what you do with the local film community.
Sure. Well, Film Dayton is a nonprofit based here in the Miami Valley, and we really have three roles in serving the community. One is somewhat as a film club. We offer opportunities for filmmakers to get together. The last Tuesday of every month, there's an educational component, there's a networking component. It's really about bringing people together, making sure that they're updated on the latest trends. They have the opportunities to work with one another, and we're supporting the grassroots opportunities here in the community. I mean, all of the guests that you have on Film Speak, you know, making sure that they're connected and they know about what's happening. Another aspect of our programming is the festival. Every August we host the Film Dayton Festival, which is a celebration of films really from all over the world, as well as we have special categories for filmmakers based in Ohio. So any Ohio filmmaker, or if they shot their film in Ohio, or the lead actor is originally from Ohio, they can submit shorts or features to be celebrated as part of the Film Dayton Festival. And then the third component, which is really exciting for all area filmmakers, is that Film Dayton is a film commission. We work really hard with our area governments and municipalities, and then filmmakers and producers to make it as easy as possible to shoot a film here in the region. We help with connections to locations, to cast and crew. Ohio has a fantastic film incentive, which is why a lot of larger budget films are coming to Ohio right now. And we want to be sure that the Dayton region gets a part of that action, because we have fantastically talented cast and crew who are ready to work on those big budget films, and so Film Dayton works to kind of attract those. So as the executive director of the organization, I work with an all-volunteer board, which Nicole leads up as our president. And we are a nonprofit, so we work in writing grants. We work in putting together great educational programming, putting together the fabulous festival, and just really celebrating all things film.
That's interesting. Very nice.
Yeah.
So, as a part of Film Dayton, what kind of steps do you take in bringing bigger productions to the area?
Well, one of the things we're trying to do is set up a locations database so we can show all of the locations that Dayton has to offer. We have some beautiful buildings, we have some vacant buildings that might be useful, we have some beautiful churches, people's homes. So we're trying to build this database so we can attract films to the region and say, hey, if you're looking for an old school, we have an abandoned school, or if you're looking for a beautiful church, we have this historic church, and to try to get the word out that Dayton has some really great places to shoot and that it's affordable to shoot here, and then also to plug people into our crew. We have amazing local talent that know a variety of crafts and different positions, and so trying to get people to plug into our local workforce and actually spend some money here to help build up economic development and to employ our local filmmaking talent.
Very nice.
Great. So tell us a little bit about any of the projects that you're working on. I understand you're an actress, correct?
I am.
You are, okay, and you're in a band.
Yes,
Cassandra.
I am in a band.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What projects you're involved in, and your band, and how that affects you with your teaching or your filmmaking.
Well, personally, I've actually taken a step back as an actor since I've stepped into Film Dayton. It's so exciting and just a very different beast dealing with the administrative side of film. I consider Film Dayton really the concierge to the film business in town. So you're wearing a different hat every single day. So a producer would contact and say, hey, who do I talk to who can offer this particular role in a film? How do I get connected with your crew? Where are your locations? Teach me more about the film incentive that Ohio offers. And so in doing that, it's really its own beast, but it's very fun and very exciting, and it's taken me a little bit away from the acting side of it. So hopefully I'll get back into it, but for right now, I'm really enjoying the behind-the-scenes work.
Awesome.
Well, for Curse of Cassandra, we have a female lead singer, and then me and the band. And so one of the things we're doing is, having female-led music and connecting with other local female musicians. And then I am doing some work on music videos, so that's sort of how the film aspect plays into it.
Cool.
But as a professor at Wright State, when I came to Wright State 5 years ago, I noticed that there was not that many women in the film program. So one of the first things I did was I created this organization called Kino Femme. And Kino Femme was a women's filmmaking collective where we could all come together and network and share stories about being a woman working in the industry and to really build up relationships between women at Wright State. And so since I started that, we're at almost 50% representation now in our film program. So one of the things we do is it's an open forum to talk about being a woman in film, but then it's also a place to make films. So we have student written and directed work with all female crew, and we produce short films through that, and to give the women in the program a little bit of a different experience. A lot of women haven't been in a room with only women. A lot of women have had the experience of being the only woman in a room with all men.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly in filmmaking, that's true. So the group is trying to create this alternate filmmaking experience with an all-female crew.
Wow, it's awesome.
Now this is really for both of you. What have you noticed from maybe 10 years ago till now, how women have evolved in the film industry? What sticks out in your mind that's different?
Well, I would say, unfortunately, we've actually regressed pretty substantially in terms of filmmaking. I think that there's a perception that as we progress in society, there's more women in film, but if you look at the statistics, it's actually not true. They are actually slightly lower than representation we had in the 1990s. Wow. And actually, the best time in filmmaking for women was the 1910s to the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at that, that was a time when women were writing, directing, they were really involved. So we've seen, as the studio system kind of developed and consolidated, less and less women were working in film, particularly in positions behind the camera. Mm-hmm. So cinematography and directing is where we see the biggest weaknesses in film. So, I mean, I guess I would say it hasn't evolved. Mm-hmm. It's still very problematic for women in the industry. Less than 5% of directors are women. That's slightly higher in documentary filmmaking, but it's still not that great. And if you look at independent film, where you'd still expect more openness and representation of women, it's still quite low. It's hovering about 16%. So we have a lot of work to do on how to figure out how can we overcome these barriers that women are facing in the industry. You know, part of it is executives that are making decisions. Part of it is raising money and the difficulty that a woman director has with raising money, which is insane because their films make as much money, if not slightly more, than men based on the statistics. Except, you know, the perception is, well, I can't fund your film, only women are going to want to watch it. You know, this idea that as a woman director, you're only catering to 50% of the population. But as a male director, you know, you're universally, you have a universal audience.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of issues there, but I think that just knowing that it's not getting better should, you know, lead us in the direction of saying we have to make substantial changes to the industry.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, the stats don't lie, and Nicole's right in just how upsetting it is when you look at the numbers, because the truth of it is how capable the women are, how wonderfully talented they are when you see what happens. I mean, I know producers who are, you know, hard as nails as any of their male counterparts when they're working on the budgets and the schedules and telling people how to get it done and what needs to happen, and keeping that film really together. You know, directors who have fantastic visions. And I'm excited to be able to talk to you a little later about Point Break, because, you know, Catherine Bigelow directing that film when most people consider it to be, you know, a very male, masculine type.
Yeah.
But then, you know, it's really exciting to be able to talk about that and talk about her female viewpoint even through the action. But on the flip side, one wonders, would she have even had that opportunity if at the time she had not been married to James Cameron and he didn't put her forward for the film?
Right.
I mean, you wonder, like, these women are clearly doing wonderful things and have a great voice and a great vision. And what are we as a community doing to support them? And that's why Dayton, I think, is so lucky, because at, you know, the Film Connections meetings that Film Dayton hosts, you know, there is a growing female representation. I mean, it's still woefully underrepresented, but you know, the women are getting involved with things like KinoFem that Nicole created. I mean, going from, in 4 years, very little representation to half representation in the film department, it really takes standing up and saying, you know what, I recognize this as a problem and I can do something about it, while still valuing the film. You know, it's valuing the quality of film and bringing women into that role because they add to the quality.
Wow. Well, I think with that, I mean, this is a good time to break and, you know, come back and discuss Point Break and Catherine Bigelow and, you know, women and how, you know, with Catherine, you know, was James Cameron, you know, kind of her little foot in the door, or was it, you know, her directing, her quality? So with that, we're going to take a break and be back.
Hello, Dr. Valdez. I'm God. I realize that heaven and hell and angels and demons are not a part of your scientific fact world that you live in. But believe me, they're real. They're very, very real. There's a great and evil danger that is coming to your world, Dr. Valdez. And I need your help.
I am here to fight, battle, and destroy the evil horde set loose on your world. So, if you are to help me kill demons, how is it done? Demons bleed just like any other being created by the Lord, so the answer is simple. Just make sure they bleed more than you do.
We'll count that club.
Yep. These are like 3 of my favorite films back here. So can we talk about Metropolis?
Sweet. Forget Catherine. Let's talk about Fritz.
You have good taste then. Not enough people know Frenzy.
Oh.
Right. You guys are rolling.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back. We're going to talk about Point Break and a little bit of Catherine Bigelow as well.
Nice.
Opinions. Point Break. What'd you think?
Okay, well, Point Break, I mean, rewatching it is a funny experience from seeing it originally. Because when I originally saw it, you know, I kind of saw it in a traditional viewing experience. And now that I've learned so much more about film, I kind of watch it more as kind of a satire almost on surfing culture and bromance films. And
definitely a bromance.
like, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's more than a bromance, which I think is kind of overt in the film, and that's one of the things I love about it. I mean, just Catherine Bigelow as a director making pretty much an action buddy flick, and like it's a traditional genre film. And so at one level, you're kind of like, well, did a woman direct this? You can't completely tell, but then I think when you look at the way that she films the relationship between Bodhi and Johnny, you can tell it's a female director. I think in the way that she films them surfing, for example, there's a lot of emphasis on the physical body of the male actors.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a common thing in her work, is kind of the female gaze or female desire, and she often features masculine male characters in this way. And also just kind of the romantic aspect that they have in their relationship. I think that that's something that she makes pretty overt in the film, and I don't think a male director would have filmed that relationship in the same way. So I love that it's a genre film that's subversive of the genre that it's in.
But not only that, Lori Petty, she was a very strong female. I mean,
Yes.
physically,
Yes.
she was muscular. She was almost a tomboy out there playing football with them. And I also noticed in Zero Dark 30, when she directed that, Jessica Chastain was a very strong woman in a very male-dominated work community. I mean, my favorite line from that film, and I won't swear, I promise, my mom's out there watching, is, you know, when they're like, well, who discovered this? And she's like, I'm that mother blank that found this. And when I saw little Jessica Chastain say that, I was like, that was so cool. So not only does she create kind of like movies that men would you know, think are awesome, but she also portrays women as being, you know, kind of dominant too in their role in that movie. And, you know, a lot of her movies, even, was it K-19, The Widowmaker, and The Hurt Locker, where she won an Academy Award for, were very high adrenaline, like testosterone, go get 'em, which is interesting 'cause she's a woman. You know, people think that we're all lovey-dovey and rom-com and quirky little cute buddy movies, and no, she proved that I can go out and make this awesome movie about guys detonating bombs in Iraq, and I can win an Academy Award, and, you know, sorry, James, I totally beat you.
There you go.
So, you know, what are your thoughts on that? Just
well,
her,
actually,
the
my
movie
favorite,
she goes for.
yeah, my favorite movie by her is actually The Loveless, which is her first feature film in 1982, and it's Willem Dafoe's first screen appearance, and it's a biker film basically, and it's just this biker film with Willem Dafoe, and it's shot in this really just like romantic red light style, and her camera, you know, just like scrolls down his body and like shows the bike and shows motorcycle culture and just kind of eroticizes the whole thing. And it's really cool because, again, on one level it's this biker movie in this traditional genre, but then she's showing the female desire in the way that she's filming the male characters. So I think that that's a consistent trait across her work. And even in The Hurt Locker, which is, I mean, that's a much more kind of extreme film based on the circumstances within it, I think there's aspects to that too in how she films the male relationships. And I think that she focuses on masculinity, right? And just because a woman focuses on masculinity doesn't mean she's not a feminist. Because when we're talking about feminism, we're talking about both masculinity and femininity and how they play out in each particular person. So I think that that's what's great about her.
I thought she did really good with The Hurt Locker. My husband went to Iraq, and he's you know, done with the Army now. But he could really relate to Jeremy Renner's character after he finished his tour, came home, dealing with a baby and family, how he couldn't
reintegrate.
He couldn't handle that civilian life, and actually would rather go back and, you know, detonate bombs than be with his family. And my husband could relate to that because he missed that military, that
camaraderie,
the structure.
That's built,
And he loves that movie, and he didn't know a female directed it until I told him. And I was like, you know, a woman made that film that you love so much, you know, and she hit the nail right on the head, you know, when it came to that military. And she was never in the military.
I think it's such an interesting, like almost sociological experiment. And I think Catherine Bigelow demonstrates this so well. You know, to watch so many of her films, just, you know, and, you know, something like Point Break, you know, that's old enough. You can find that on a Saturday afternoon, cable kind of a thing. And so, just, sitting on your couch, catching it halfway through and, watching the action. And, some of it is shot so beautifully, like
There's
running
two
through the streets. And
action
when
really,
she shoots the male form, it's a very sexy style of directing.
Yeah, very sexy, but also very action-packed and very driven. So it's one of those things, like you gave reference to your husband when he was watching The Hurt Locker. Just sitting back and watching the action and watching everything unfold, I think people are conditioned to assume that it's a male director, and then they have one thought going on in their mind as they're watching it. But if you tell them, this is a female director, this is, all of this action unfolding through her lens, and she's still telling the story, people start to pick up on the other things that Nicole was mentioning, the bromance and the sexuality of it, and some of the other things that are right there the whole time, but until you're watching it through the lens, knowing that this is a female perspective, you almost close off to it because you assume, oh, it's an action movie, I know what that's all about. So we need to train ourselves as an audience to either change our assumptions, which would be the best thing to do about who's directing it.
Open-minded,
oh, shocker. But, if we can't change our assumptions yet, maybe train ourselves to educate ourselves that, there are those female directors out there with these kind of viewpoints, with these abilities, with these skills, and stop making assumptions.
And it makes you wonder if, these high adrenaline kind of testosterone movies, if she's making them because she realizes, as you mentioned in our first segment, that's where the money's at. That's what's going to sell.
She's cracked the code and found the niche for a female.
Yeah. Okay, if I can make it kind of a high, drama and the adrenaline and awesome shots, and are people going to buy into it? Are people going to see it and give me money? And it's very interesting. Point Break was very much like that.
Yeah.
20
made a ton of money.
Yeah.
And it catered to kind of like a male adolescent audience.
Yeah. And she kept that going, and then Hurt Locker comes around and she wins an Academy Award. So it's almost like, did she find the key to success, being a woman in filmmaking industry and finding success? Is that what it takes? Kind of doing these high, intense. And
well, I think it's her passion. I think that these are the kind of films she loves. These are the kind of films she wants to make. So for her to be at her best as an artist, it's to make these kind of films, right? Not necessarily that she's making them just to make money, but that these are the kind of films she wants to make. They're big budget. She has to get a lot of money to make a film like Point Break, and it had a pretty big budget. And it was very commercially successful. So I think that if her passion is there, and then she's able to raise the money because she already has that passion, and then she's able to deliver for audiences. And she's proven that multiple times. Like, she's been the most successful woman in terms of consistent box office success.
Do you think the younger generations are starting to be more open-minded when it comes to females in film taking on the stronger roles of a director, producer, or writer?
I don't think we're necessarily educating our audiences that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that young people are even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And that's on all of us as filmmakers who are more experienced and in those roles as educators and filmmakers and on set. Are we mentoring our young women and giving them opportunities? Are we having conversations with our audiences about things like that? So I can't say. I mean, numbers are what will tell us in the future, but I don't know that we've done enough as the filmmaking community.
I will say, in the I teach at Wright State, and so the first course that I teach is film appreciation, and there's about 100 students in that class, and usually about the second week I say, how many of you know the name of a female film director? And they'll say Catherine Bigelow, or they'll say Sofia Coppola, and I'm like, okay, name 2 more. And it's pretty much silence.
Diablo Cody, that's
yeah.
it. And then,
I mean, a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're not exposed to those films, or even if they are exposed, maybe they don't know it's a female director. But yeah, I mean, I think that the education is an essential aspect of it, and I think just based on what people seek out, they tend to seek out stuff they already like, and so if they already like, a male director, they'll keep seeking out them, and then people like them, and maybe they're not being exposed to other types of cinema, particularly independent film, which is harder to get. But hopefully with Netflix and things like that, there will be kind of an opening up of what the youth are exposed to in terms of cinema.
And what we're doing, you know, to make sure that there are those opportunities. In the first segment, Nicole shared a little bit about Kino Femme.
Right.
You know, so she's taking active steps to make sure that there's a community where women feel empowered to be the writers, the directors, to take those lead roles on set where, you know, no one's going to call you bossy for having an opinion, or no one's going to say you're trying to take control of this. It's really about the creativity and the camaraderie and the perspective that women bring. And so things like that are powerful steps that not only will put more women filmmakers into those opportunities, but as that kind of permeates society, people will be aware that, oh, there's this great group called Kino Femme, and women are filmmakers, and women are taking these lead roles.
So on a final note, what advice would you give to a female, a younger female, coming into this industry?
I would say know that you have to work twice as hard to be as good as the average person, male, that you're competing against. And just kind of, it's not fair, but know that. And since you're aware of that, work twice as hard to get there. And secondly, brag about yourself. Because I think as women, we're socialized not to do that.
Yeah.
And we're like, I'll just keep working hard and I'll make great art and eventually somebody will notice me. And the problem is that there's always somebody, you know, some guy filmmaker who actually doesn't know very much about film talking about how great he is against you that actually does know something about film, but you're not speaking up. And so I think part of it is brag about yourself and let people know what you're doing and inform them about your work.
Oh, I like it. Horrible at bragging.
I like that.
We all need to brag more.
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I would just encourage, you know, girls and young women filmmakers to take advantage of the fact that there have been women who came before them. Maybe not a whole lot of us, but even in our community here in the Miami Valley, there are wonderfully talented females who are working in all aspects of the industry, who are very, very talented directors and producers and writers. And because just the nature of the beast being that, you know, maybe we are fewer than some of our male counterparts, but we are here. So you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel, but you can learn from someone else. You can take someone out for coffee and have a conversation. You can find a mentor, and believe in the network of the community, because that was something that we do at Film Dayton. You know, we believe in pulling people together and networking and allowing for opportunities. So our film connections on the last Tuesday of the month are really about bringing everyone together and saying, who's working on something? How can we provide support? Who wants to cheerlead about what they're doing and what they're doing well? It's a very safe space where you can brag and exchange and do that. So,
really quick, look at the camera and tell them when Film Connections takes place and where.
Sure. Film Connections is the last Tuesday of every month. They're typically at Think TV, which is on Jefferson Street in downtown Dayton. But, and so March 25th, we'll be welcoming Stephen Bognar, talking about trends in short contemporary film.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You guys shared so much amazing information about women in film, and I hope you were all paying attention.
It was great to be here. And you did an awesome job, so brag about yourself.
I'm hosting.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
What a great episode. I hope that we gave you some insight to the challenges a woman can face in what has been a male-dominated field.
It's good to know that there are women brave enough to face a gender wall and break through. Speaking of, thank you to Megan and Nicole for joining us here and discussing women in film. We hope you had a great time. It's bloody and practical to love, honor, and obey. If it weren't, you wouldn't have to sign a contract.
I find a woman's point of view much grander and finer than a man's.
I never realized until lately that women were supposed to be inferior.
Not everyone is lucky enough to understand how delicious it is to suffer. Bye, thanks for watching.